Oh, yeah. That's right, the Black Advantage, back to basics. May 14th through the 16th, 2024. Register now to join the profession, strategic partnerships, learn about Bitcoin, the film industry, podcasts, real estate, finances, and more. Go to theblackadvantage.net. Get the early bird special, only $89 for all 4 events. That's right, 3 days, 4 events. May 14th through the 16th. Call 248-621-4886.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talks with Todd.
Yeah, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Top of the top for real this time. I know it ain't Saturday. I know. I've had some unexpected things happen in my personal life, so I had to switch some things up. It's not about to be permanent, but it's the show is going to continue regardless. So don't even worry about it. We about to be going smooth. So welcome back to Talks with Todd, man. I'm your host, Wit Todd. I got my engineer and my co-host for the day on the ones and twos. What's up, Telly? How you doing?
Good morning.
Does it feel weird being here on a Sunday?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm used to Saturdays for sure.
Yeah, I'm used to Saturdays too.
Here.
But it's cool though. I'm glad we could do that. I'm glad I could say top of the top. So that feels good.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah, it feels good. It feels good. So, ladies and gentlemen, today's topic is something different, man. But it's gonna be a little personal, you know. And we're going to discuss what it was like growing up without a father.
Yeah.
Telly and myself have both experienced this, and we're just going to share our experiences. Some of this you may have heard on maybe season 1, or actually maybe season 2. And no, I take that back, season 1. But you just heard a little bit. You didn't hear everything. You didn't hear about everything I had to go through. So we're going to get into that. So Telly, what was it like in the beginning for you, like growing up without a father?
It was extremely tough, considering the fact that for a long period of time I thought it was my fault. So I didn't understand why, he didn't want to be in my life or he didn't want to be around me. So I thought it was something that I was doing or something that I wasn't doing. So it was more so just placing that blame, that guilt on me. And of course, people will tell you like, oh no, it's not your fault, it's okay. But you still, you feel it because you don't understand why he wasn't present. Why didn't he want to be present? So it was tough. It was emotionally tough, more than anything. So
right.
Yeah. What about you?
For me, I was a little lost because I really didn't. When I was growing up, at first I wasn't really tripping about it until I started going to school. When I started going to school, unfortunately, kids were cruel back then.
Yeah.
So I had to hear certain things like, wait a minute, what? You live with your mama and your mama only, where your daddy at? Why you ain't got no daddy?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That was a big thing.
So when I started getting hit with things like that, that's when it started to bother me.
Yeah.
The most.
That was a big thing for me though, because I went to a predominantly white school. So they
had family.
They had their fathers. So it's like, having to be in that environment with the stereotype, that's already on us of our dad not being there and mom wasn't. It's like, dang. But yeah, it was really tough going to even the school dances when it came to, the father and daughter dances. My mom would always go with me, so that I wouldn't feel alone and so that I could still attend and feel like the other kids, but it was still that part of me that was missing because it wasn't a male. It wasn't my dad there. It was my mom having a substitute for that. And I thank her for that so much. But it would have been nice having that same experience that everybody else had.
Right.
So
I understand that. I personally grew up in a different era where there wasn't any mother-daughter, father-daughter dances.
Oh, I didn't do that?
No, it wasn't. It wasn't that in my time.
Yeah.
It
okay.
wasn't.
Well, shout out to
if it was, I wasn't paying attention to it. So,
okay.
Because I didn't care.
Those are at the school. Nothing too crazy. But yeah, I do remember those dances vividly. And I remember feeling so down, but still wanting to go. And then my mom telling me like, yeah, it's okay. Again, that pep talk, it's not your fault. You know, things like that. But you just still feel that void. You still feel that unwanted piece. And then, like I said, with me not knowing him, it's not like I could just ask him like, hey, why did you do this, right? And the one time I did get to ask him that question, I was thinking about it my whole life. Like, how would it go? Where would I be?
Right.
How old would I be? he couldn't even answer my question when I asked him, like, hey, so why? He was just like, well, I really don't know. And that was a slap in the face because, like I said, thinking about that moment for your whole life and how it would be, and then you don't even get no closure from that. So it's like, where do you go? Right. Really, where do you go from that?
Yeah, that's unfortunate that you had that he couldn't even answer the question. Yeah. Like, that's crazy to me because, you know, when I was told that, well, I remember when I was going through, some of you may have heard this on season 2, but when I was going through my issues with my mother at a younger age, I was ready to go live with my dad, not even knowing who this dude was. Like, no lie, I never even met the guy, never even heard his voice, but I just knew I can't sit here and deal with my deal with my mom's because she's doing the most. At least that to me she was, right?
Okay, so prior to you never knew him.
Never knew him.
Okay.
So I'm telling her, like, hey, listen, I'm ready to go live with my dad. So she like, oh, okay. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'm not realizing why she's smiling and all that shit, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm not putting 2 and 2 together. So she told me to go ahead and call him. So she gave me her phone. I called him. I was like, hey, Dad, look, I know we ain't met, but I want to come stay with you instead of living with my mom. Yeah. He said, okay. Like, he was going to come pick me up. Right? I said, okay, cool. I packed my clothes up. I had my little suitcase ready. All of that. I'm just sitting on the porch waiting. I'm sitting there for hours, though, like hours. And I didn't have the most patience as a kid. So
you anxious.
Yeah, so I'm ready to go. It got about maybe 9. Then my mom came out there to get me. It wasn't that dark, though, because that's how I remember it was summertime. She came out there and get me. She was like, come on, let's go back in the house.
That feeling is so hurtful.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So that's where I started to develop the hatred for my dad.
Okay. That's because of that moment right there. You felt let down.
Yeah, because here's the thing. If you told me no, cool. Right. Totally would have respected that, right? Yeah. You said, okay. And got off the phone like you was about to. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's traumatizing within itself.
You didn't call back. You didn't say this like, "Hey, I'll come get you tomorrow." Instead, nothing. Just straight up, nothing.
Yeah. Okay. That's hurtful, and it will make you create that resentment towards them. And it's like you don't want to have it because you're like, okay, this is my dad. This is who I know to be. You know, my dad. This is what they're telling me. You don't want to hate them because you don't, hate your mom or whatever. But it is that hurtful time where you do go through that, and you be like, why didn't you, like you said, why didn't you just keep it real? Kid or not, I have feelings as well, and I don't think that they really understand that, but. Just shout out to your mom, and then also, my mom as well. I never heard anything bad about my dad. I didn't find out about him until I actually met him. It wasn't any bad talking. It wasn't, anything like, because at one point I was blaming my mom for everything because I thought that she was trying to keep me from him, because I'd be like, well, what's his number? Let me call him. And she wouldn't know. He would change phone numbers so frequently. But as in a kid mindset, I'm like, you got to know. How don't you know? And so it was a big part of my childhood that I grew up, like mad at my mom and having that displaced anger. And, I had to figure out where to really, route it to because it wasn't fair to her. So.
Yeah, that's messed up. That's messed up, man. And, when my mom really didn't speak bad about my dad, but what she was doing was she would just tell me, she'll leave things really simple, like, I remember going back in the house crying like, yo, why don't my dad want me, right? She's like, your dad just didn't want any kids. I said, okay, if he didn't want no kids, how am I here? I started asking those questions that now at that point I wasn't getting answers to. Right? So I was getting like really irritated and confused. So by the time that happened around 7 or 8, so by the time I was about 12, maybe 13, that's when, that side of the family reached back out to me. But it wasn't even my pops that did it. It was my uncle. So here's the weird thing about my family on my dad's side. My uncle is younger than my dad, right? Okay. But he acts like he's the oldest.
Okay. So was he more your father figure?
In the beginning, yeah.
Okay.
In the beginning of me meeting everybody on my dad's side of the family, yes. Yeah. So by the time I ended up meeting my pops through him, I was just like, I was disgusted with him. I was like, bro, I don't like you. I don't respect you. Right. You a coward. That's in my mind, right? I just had a whole attitude with him. Like, I just kept looking at him like, this
Because
dude,
once
bro,
you
like
see somebody a certain way, it's hard to unsee them
Exactly.
in that light.
yeah. So that was really tough. For me, that was a rough time for me, really, because here it is. I got all this hatred towards this man that I don't know,
Right.
but then I don't know how to like really communicate with him properly either.
Yeah.
Like I want to get to know him, but I'm like, for what?
Exactly.
For what?
Exactly.
Like
You find
everything-
yourself.
Right. I know how to ride a bike already. I already know how to put a condom on.
Right.
Like I know how to do stuff that you
Yeah,
should have been there for.
Exactly.
You feel me?
So you feel like if I didn't have you then, I'm good without you now. So.
Now that was stupid of me to
Right.
have that attitude at
Yeah.
the time, but at 12, 13,
Exactly. You a
can't tell
kid.
nobody nothing,
Yeah.
right? If I was in my right mind, I would have just went on ahead and just let him in and show me whatever he needed to show.
Yeah.
And I regret
Yeah.
holding that resentment towards him.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it right there. I was hurt. I wouldn't say that I hated him. I didn't hate him because even when he did try to reach back out, I still allowed him to do that. I still gave him the grace and opportunity to do that. Because I know some kids, they like you had the mindset, they like, no, even in their adult life, they like, I don't want nothing to do with them. They can't contact me. But I still just wanted that bond so bad that I was willing to accept him not being there for a big significant part of my life. Then we did get reconnected, I'll say my senior year of high school, and then things was going good. I thought that my life was finally changing because I had literally went as far as Googling the ancestry and trying to find your tree, your family tree and everything. Like I was searching names and I was asking my mom like, hey, what's his mom? I was really trying to find him. Like I'm in computer class literally looking him up, and my friends was helping me do that, right? So when I first met him, they was like, oh my God, I remember when you was looking for him. And I was like, yeah. So I thought my life was changing for the better because I had met him.
Right.
Only, to find out shortly thereafter, a few months, that he would leave back out of my life. So I had to pick myself back up yet again from that hurt that I never healed from, initially. So I do regret it. I wish we had, more moments, more memories, because unfortunately he's no longer here. He did pass.
Sorry to hear about that.
Thank you. And I just wish that things could have been different, that I could have actually known him and had a relationship with him. So.
And I understand that. I mean, I think when a situation like that happens, everybody like has some type of regret, because my biggest regret by not like being able to drop my ego, my issues with my dad, is that he could have shown me so much, like just about cars alone. That man know how to build a car from the ground up.
Wow.
So,
and that stuff they not teaching no more.
Exactly.
So.
You know what I'm saying? Like they used to teach that stuff. Like, you used to be able to leave school early and learn all of that.
Yeah.
So the fact that I have a father that was able to, that would have been able to show me that stuff that I needed to know. You know what I'm saying? I know little stuff, but I know nothing like that.
Right.
I regret that moment. Top of the top, caller, you on the air.
So y'all switching times up on the brother and everything.
Well, yeah, man. It's been some stuff going on. As you already know, what's going on with
you? Good morning.
Good morning, Shannon Shan.
Good morning.
Well, underground.
Good morning.
So, it seems like y'all having a good old time.
Yeah, there we are.
It's deep.
I see. That's what's up.
Yeah.
Y'all keep it going. I'm listening. I was just letting y'all know that I'm up, and I woke up to a surprise. I'm like live on air.
So I thought you was having technical difficulty.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for calling.
Yeah, appreciate you calling, man. Peace.
No problem. Peace.
Yeah, so just imagine like missing out on little stuff like that because you holding on to anger. Like that's the one thing that I regret. Now, moving forward though, in the grand scheme of everything, I learned exactly what not to be when it came down to being a father.
Now that's the best part about it.
I knew good and well I wasn't gonna leave my son or my daughter stinking like that. Like I wasn't just not gonna be there. You know what I'm saying? Now the issue is when it comes down to those parents that don't work out or whatever the case may be, you only gonna hear so much of somebody's side of the story. When I got into it with my father one day, I checked him about not being there, right? And he said, listen, I'm sorry about what happened. There was no excuse.
Yeah.
But you don't know everything. And that was a very necessary conversation.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know nothing about other than what my mom told me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, she didn't speak bad about him, but she told me little stuff here and there. So just imagine talking to your dad and he's saying, listen, the reason why I wasn't around was because your mom said she was going to get an abortion. And when she called me and said you were born, I'm like, oh, this is a scam.
Right. Wow, because you didn't know that other side.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
when I went back, mind you, I'm like 19 at this point.
Right.
So I'm still kind of like losing it, not knowing myself, trying to figure stuff out, trying to figure me out. And I hear that. So I hit my mom up and I said, you didn't tell me everything that you should have told me. You didn't tell me you was doing X, Y, and Z and you was supposed to abort me and all of that. So she said, he told you that? And I said, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't hear nothing else. Nothing.
Yeah.
Like she went silent. Like she was just in awe that he told me the whole truth.
Right.
Versus, you know, some sugar-coated story.
Yeah.
And at 19, I didn't need to hear a sugar-coated story. I needed to hear that. That was what I needed to move on.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's what's up. And I commend you, though, for being the one that want to make that change and want to be different for your kids. Because it's so many people out here that can't let that hurt or that anger go. And they just repeat the cycle. And generations is going to suffer because of that. And they just feel like, oh, okay, well, I don't know how to be a dad, or I don't know how to love, or be a, you know, whatever the case may be. I don't know how to be there because it wasn't shown to me. But parenting has no rule book. You know what I'm saying? You have to do what's best for you and your kids. So it's nothing wrong with trying to break those generational curses, especially knowing how you felt and what you had to go through being put in those positions. So I definitely, you know, commend people who are in their kids' life, active in their kids' life, trying and everything like that. When I see it, I love to see it because it heals an inner part of my, you know, my childhood that I didn't get, that I missed out on. So I definitely respect it. So
yeah, I appreciate it. Like I said, he taught me exactly what not to be.
Yeah.
So God definitely wired me different because the stuff that should have affected me long term, it did everything reverse. You would think that because I grew up without a father, I wouldn't either one care to have kids or care to be there for mine, or fought as hard as I have to be there for mine. So everything that he did, it was just like, okay, I'm gonna do something different. Whatever love I didn't get from my mom, I looked for that love. So like it kind of worked. It worked out for me. Like whatever my parents was missing, I got it.
That's good. That's good. Now what I can say is that my mom, she definitely made sure that I didn't harp on it too much, right? So she was, like I said, always there. Any dance, any function, she was there. She wanted me to know I was loved, and even though I didn't have the love from both parents, that, you know, she was still very much active. She was there. So I definitely shout out and commend her for that because, you know, carrying that load, I know it's tough.
Right. Top of the top, caller, you on the air.
Hi, what's up? That's Q.
What's going on, Q? How you doing?
I'm awesome and amazing. How are you guys?
Great.
Glad to hear that. So the topic today, when you talk about growing up without your father, what I had to go through, I think I was about 30 years old when I fully forgave my dad, and I had an understanding that he had to live his own life, and a person cannot deposit in you what has not been deposited in them in any way. And so I did a dive on his life as far as checking out my grandmother, checking out if he had his father. And I learned some things about my dad. He didn't have his father. And, you know, it was a drug issue. His mother was crazy. Like, you know, it was a couple of different things that was going on that I had no idea about. All I know is I needed him at a certain time. But just not having that, I feel like God will always give you what you need, even if it's in an uncle, a brother, you know. It doesn't matter. God will always give you that figure, and it may not come from the person who holds that title. And so being able to forgive without receiving an apology, it frees you and on another level. Yeah. And so I freed myself. I wrote a letter, I burnt it, and me and my dad talked, and he said, look, I don't know if we can, you know, get this together, but we'll see. We'll try. And we left it at that. And I said, I don't want any fake love. We don't have to force anything. Let's just get to know each other, because at that point, we're getting to know each other. I'm an adult at this point. And so even now, like, it's no force. If I think about my dad, I call him, he think about me. You know, I celebrate his birthdays, and I let go of that longing to want something I've seen other people have. So I would say anybody that's listening, just have that grace, have that discernment to know that your parent had a whole life before you. And so it's important to, you know, really dive into that if you need to get that closure.
Yes.
But great
Thank
topic.
you so much.
Thank you, V. We appreciate you calling
Yes.
in.
Thank you. No
Definitely.
problem. Keep it going.
Yes, we will, most definitely.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
She brought up a good point too, because when I actually forgave my dad, it was at his funeral. I literally walked up to the casket, hugged him, kissed him, and I told him, I'm like, I forgive you. And that whole service after that, like when the preacher got up and preached, like literally it's like it spoke to me, and like you were saying, it freed me in a sense, because without an apology, I still was able to have grace and forgive you, because as I got older, I wasn't looking at things from that kid standpoint. I was actually able to understand, like, he had issues with his dad, because my mom did say, his dad wasn't active in his life. So I'm like, okay, cool, like he didn't get that love. And it's like now kind of seeing, now that I have, my siblings, my brother, it's like I'm watching the same, thing in my brother, and it's just like, wow. Yeah. I didn't get to see it before, but it's like now even seeing my brother and understanding, like, this is just him. This is just his life. And like you said, they have a life to live. Like, and it was like that before you. So I didn't actually forgive my dad until I was, an adult as well. So
yeah, I didn't forgive my pops until I was an adult, like well into my 30s. And this was the time that he didn't apologize for anything just yet. Like, well, he apologized in the past, but he went more in depth as I got older about his apology. Okay. But I had already forgiven him by that time, because I ended up going through it with my kid's mother. And when I went through it with her, that's when I was able to see, okay, now with all this drama going on, I could see why he would not necessarily not be there in the beginning, but why he would take a step back, because I ended up dealing with the same thing. So my mom, she caused a lot of drama, unfortunately, back in her day, right? So then I ended up with somebody that's probably 10 times worse than her, and I had to take a step back from my own kids. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like too much going on.
Yeah, so it's like as you got older, you was able to understand
and that's when I forgave my father, because it was like, okay, how could you get me? How could you get me and have a good relationship going back and forth from you to my mom and back and how could that happen if she's not right in the head?
That's true.
Everything goes smoother when the mother is okay.
The house runs better. Everything, because she set the foundation. Yeah. So that's true.
Yeah. So once I realized that, I said, wow, this is what my father was avoiding. Exactly. Right here. Yeah. So at that moment, when I started going through it myself with my own two kids, I said, all right, I see what he was doing.
They say you never really understand until you have your own.
Exactly.
I hear it all the time.
I tell people all the time.
Or just keep living, one of the two.
I tell people all the time, unless you went through the experience, you ain't never going to understand.
That's it.
So I definitely
always say what you could do, should do, would have done, but until you're in that situation, you never know, and that's when you actually start to understand it. Yeah, most definitely. So when I forgave him, I was like, okay, I see what you was trying to avoid. However, you didn't have to just be completely ghost, but it's cool. Right. It is what it is. I learned from that. Yeah. And everybody deal with things differently, right? So you have to look at it from that perspective too. Like, yeah.
In a lot of ways, I'm nothing like my parents. Like I attack things head on. I'm very blunt. I'm very vocal. Okay. If a situation ain't right, I check it immediately. My parents are nothing like that. Yeah. They rather, sweep it under the rug or whatever. Non-confrontational people. And that's okay to be. It's just not okay with every situation.
That's true.
So I thank God for my grandmother. God rest her soul.
Okay, because she was more so like that?
She was the toughest person in my family. No lie. The family went to crap when she died. Yeah. Or once both of the grandmothers died on both sides. Yeah. But mainly her, because to me, just my opinion, my grandmother was just the strongest one who dealt with probably more. That's why she was so strong. So I held my grandmother to a certain regard.
Okay.
And I got I believe I got my strength and my bluntness from her.
Okay.
So,
like you said, it's good in some situations. I'm more so of the, try not to be confrontational, but like you said, in certain situations, you do have to
Yes.
address and attack things head on. So definitely working on that. But yeah.
Yeah, so I really appreciated my grandmother for those moments. I needed that. I needed her in my life because without my grandmother, it was a lot of stuff that wasn't about to go right with my mom anyway.
Yeah.
Just
shout out to the village in general.
Yeah.
The ones that helped and stepped up when you didn't have a dad. Like, Q was saying, like, it may not come from your father, but God places and gives you what you need as far as uncles, cousins, grandparents and things like that. Because my father figure was my granddad.
Yeah.
Literally, I saw him and my grandma. They just celebrated their 60th year anniversary. So I saw them together. I saw him doing things around the house. I saw him providing. I saw him setting examples and doing things of what a man should do. So I have that as in my recollection of what I'm looking for. So I do just appreciate and am thankful for the village that I have. So
most definitely, like I think my cousin. I have a cousin named Scotty. When things was getting rough with my mom and my adolescence, she sent me to Florida. When she sent me to Florida, that was that male father figure that I needed. He's just my older cousin, but he was the only father figure that I had at that time. Like, so he did the best he could do. I was I was goofing off, and I was homesick for whatever reason. Yeah. Like, in hindsight, I wish I would have kept my mind straight and just stayed where I was at, but it's cool. It worked out for the better. But he was the only person in my life that was a father figure, for real.
That's what's up.
So I appreciate my cousin for that, man, because he stepped up and didn't have to.
Exactly. That's the thing, didn't have to. Like,
took me in and didn't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
His own kids wasn't around like that. So it was like...
Oh, so that hit different for you. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was and he went through the same thing.
Yeah, because he might, and that's what I'm saying, he might have saw something in you just similar to himself as a kid or as a boy, and he wanted to be the one that broke that generational curse, that cycle that he wanted to end it, so... Yeah,
definitely. So I really appreciate him for that, because... the little time that I spent with him, I did learn a lot. It just, at the time, to him, it might not have seemed like I learned a lot, but I did.
Right, just over the course of time.
Yeah.
Do you still be in contact with him now?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Definitely, man.
Okay.
Like he's my go-to person when I got some serious stuff going on, especially as a father. Yeah. Because he's been through a lot.
That's what's up, that he's still in your life.
Yeah. He has kids by different women, and he's had to go through certain battles. He's had to deal with certain things I dealt with, like as far as a mutiny being created against you within the own family to side with the other woman. You know what I'm saying? So he's been through that. Everything he's been through, I've been through it. Only difference is I had to deal with it with one woman. So I definitely understand where he was coming from.
At least you got that person to go to, because a lot of people don't, and a lot of people may feel lonely, or that they just don't have that person to go to. So just shout out to the village. I really cannot say that enough. Shout out to the village. Yeah, definitely shout out to the village, man. I definitely appreciate the people that stepped up and did their part, because y'all the reason why I'm here today, Yeah. So what I will say though is that I feel like my generation is starting to step up, and they are starting to understand the importance of fatherhood and being there for kids and stuff. Like, literally, I see a lot more active African American males in their children's life, like they're attending events and things like that. Of course, you're gonna have your few or some that don't want to do, but for the most part, the dads are showing up, even if they don't have the best relationship with the mom. So I definitely shout out to this generation. Like I said, I love to see it, and I think we need it. I feel like we really need both parents, because you can only learn so much from your mom. Thank you. And you need the other part from your dad. So it's just how it's supposed to be, that balance. Yeah, you definitely got to have balance. That's why everybody talks about both parents being in the household. It's so essential. Like, I really wish that even if I couldn't stay with my kid's mother, at least we was able to get along without it being too much back and forth or
or anything, any games of any nature.
Yeah.
Because if that was the case, at least if that was the case, it wouldn't be such a battle when the kids go back and forth. It wouldn't have to do any. We wouldn't have to do any rewiring of any sort. Like, okay, you're supposed to get home. Get straight to your homework.
Yeah.
No games being played in between there. Just get straight to work, get it done. Okay, cool. Eat your food, get ready for bed.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. But it's not like that. So if parents are at least able to get along, even if y'all can't stay together, find a way to get along so these kids won't be all over the place.
That's it.
So these kids won't have 50 different personalities because they got to be one way when they with you,
Exactly.
one way when they got to go back with dad. Like, that's too much.
Yeah. Kids like structure and routine because without it, you see, the result of it is chaos, like you said. So just having that routine and at least just finding a common mutual where the kids are, the priority is what's gonna, make it work.
Yeah, it'll definitely work out. Like, it just, both parties got to be willing to put aside their differences to see what's more important. What's more important, the upbringing of these kids. That's what's more important. Them being in a better mental space. That's what's
true.
important. I'm not saying they're gonna always be happy,
right,
but at least they'll have some type of structure and balance.
Exactly.
That's it.
Because everybody need that, and I feel like we had it, and we turned out all right. So
yeah. So I hope everybody is able to figure out something when it comes down to getting along with their kid's father or kid's mother, whatever, and finding some way to work together for the betterment of the kids. Because what y'all should be wanting is the kids to have a better life than y'all. It shouldn't be no other way. I'm sorry. I wouldn't want to have it no other way. My kids should be doing better than me. My son should be reaching levels that I didn't reach. That was the whole point of me pushing him as hard as I have. Same thing for my daughter. So it should be like that. So I really wish more parents are focused on what's more important. Stop worrying about, who you been messing around with? Why you dating them? None of that stuff matters. What matters are these kids. Are they getting everything that they need? That's what matters. And I think a lot of parents lose focus. Yeah. They lose focus because most of the time they wasn't ready to be parents in the first place.
I definitely agree. So. Now, with that, so do you think that if you knew your dad growing up or if you had a relationship, then you would have had a relationship with your siblings? A closer relationship?
Yes. Yes,
okay.
I do believe I will have a closer relationship because, and shout out to everybody that's watching. We appreciate y'all. Yes, I have met my siblings. Mm-hmm. I honestly only talk. It's 5 of them. Okay. I only talk to 3. I only kick it with really 3 of them. I got my 2 brothers and my sister.
Yeah, and you met them all when you were grown.
Yeah. Okay. Now the sister that I'm closest to. This is what's crazy. I'm closest to the sister that I met last. I met her in 2010, and we've been like this ever since. That's what's up. So it's crazy. I met everybody else beforehand. We just didn't. It was either we stayed in touch, fell off, or something happened, and then we just fell off anyway. But as far as my 2 brothers and my sister, I'm still close with them. We still talk. We don't talk all the time, obviously, right, but we keep in touch. Yeah. It's not no funny business going on. It just I realized that because I didn't grow up with them or we didn't grow up together, there's always going to be some type of gap in our closeness. Yeah. And it's okay. Like, long as we still keeping in touch and vibing with each other, that's all that matters to me. But I understand why it's like that. Because we didn't grow up together, it's different. Plus, I grew up the only child, so I have a totally different mindset than everybody else. Yeah.
I think I had to get out of that because when I met my siblings, I met them when I was grown. And I just thought that we just off rip was just going to be so close. Me too. Right? So it was a little disappointing because I'm like, okay, our dad not here. This is a way to keep his legacy alive. It's no coincidence that we met each other the day of his funeral, So I'm just thinking everything is just aligning and correlating and that we was just going to be unbreakable, right? We not really the closest now. Like you said, we do kind of, speak here and there. But I just thought it was going to be way different, which is probably, an unrealistic expectation that I kind of put kind of out there because I just thought like, okay, I go hard for my friends. So I'm thinking, okay, I finally got siblings now. I got a brother, I got a sister. I'm going to go hard for them, and the loyalty is going to trump everything. But I got to understand everybody doesn't feel that way.
Yeah.
We are meeting each other when we're adults. Everybody is at different stages of life. And just because they're older than me don't mean, mentally they're older than me. So I had to take all of that into consideration to, kind of protect and spare my own feelings of that disappointment. So it was tough.
Yeah, it is tough because here you are, you're learning somebody that you don't really know, but y'all related. Right, and then you learning at a later age, and then under some unfortunate circumstances at that.
Exactly.
So I totally understand. Like, it was odd at first meeting my brothers and sisters. I was happy that I had them, but at the same time, it was like, whatever. Like, I've been going this far without y'all.
Yeah.
I'm not really about to be that pressed.
Exactly.
So, it's cool that things happen the way they happen. I just wish that I was able to like really keep my emotions intact around that time. So that way I could have been closer. Cause I could say all day the beginning of everything going south was my pops. You know what I'm saying? Probably I'll say both of my parents. But in the long run, as I got older, the rest should have been up to me. To fix things and bring it back together instead of being in my ego or in my emotions or whatever. So
and that's shout out to you for even admitting that though, because still a lot of people would try to one-sided and just play the victim. So like I said, the conversations that we did have, it was a period of time to when I did talk to him. I do wish that I would have held on to those moments a little bit longer, or like you said, not let certain things irritate me or get to me as much. Probably tried to reason a little bit better, so maybe the conversation could have went better, because now when I look back at it, I'm like, it wasn't worth it, right? It could have been totally different considering how much time had already passed in my life without him, right? And it's like, I don't want any more time, because I feel like that's a big thing that we walk around thinking that we have time. We got tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow or later on, but no. You have time until you don't. So
definitely
take advantage of each and every day. Take advantage of the people that's around you in your circle, your loved ones. Literally, just have that balance.
Yeah, definitely have that balance. I agree with you wholeheartedly, because one thing I've realized throughout the whole situation of my upbringing is you can't hold grudges. You're gonna block each and every last blessing. Like, for real, you cannot hold no grudges. I'm not gonna say forget about what happened. Just forgive for yourself.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And then let try your best to let it go. Whatever it is that you need to do to let it go, let it go. Because it's gonna take a hold of you, and you're gonna mess up other relationships in your life if you don't even try to work on that one.
That's true.
You can't keep it real with yourself. You ain't gonna be able to keep it real with nobody. You ain't gonna be able to love nobody. Like, just try to your best to let it go and work on yourself. Go get some help if you feel like you need it. Some people's help don't even be professional. It might just be their friends. It might be their friends' family. But just stick around those people that can help you heal.
Yes. Definitely. I wish that I was more emotionally intelligent and not letting my feelings dictate the outcome of something that I had control over, considering the fact that I was older, at the time. Like, I didn't have to, stick with the narrative that was always or what I knew it to be before. So definitely just, want to work on just being more emotionally intelligent moving forward, like you said, so that it doesn't affect other relationships and trickle down to other people, because I haven't truly healed from that. But I do think when I did forgive, it did free me and allow me not to have this anger, this hate towards it. When I'm able to talk about it now, I don't talk about it, I don't have a lump in my, throat of, that crying about to start. I don't feel sad about it. I just really use it and be like, hey, this is what I could, do better. I'm taking my part of the accountability and really just taking it what it is and moving forward. And when I do have kids, wanting a different outcome for them. So,
yeah. I knew at an early age, like, I was gonna be a good father because I helped raise like my little cousins.
Yeah.
Like I was always instrumental in their lives when they were younger. So I always knew I was gonna be good with kids. I remember telling myself I don't ever want to get married, but I wouldn't mind having kids.
Okay.
You know, I wouldn't mind having kids at all because I guess in a way, the reason why I wouldn't mind having kids and I knew I was going to be good is because I get kind of childish sometimes. So
That's balance.
Yeah, so it's definitely a balance. Like I love having kids. Like I wish I would have had more, to be honest.
Okay.
You know, so it just it wasn't in the cards, unfortunately. But I definitely wish, you know, me and my wife and I were able to have more. You know, that would have been really dope to have like just a big old family. But it's cool though the way it is right now, along with my son, my daughter, my stepdaughter. You know, who I also call my daughter for real. So it's more than enough.
Yeah,
14-year-old, 12-year-old, and the 6-year-old.
Oh yeah, hands full.
Yeah, definitely hands full. But it's really been I've really been blessed. We've definitely been blessed. You know,
That's
even
great.
going through the tough times. So
Yeah.
it's really been something different.
Because tough times don't last, tough people do.
Indeed.
So
Indeed.
you definitely got to keep that in mind.
Yeah. Let's get to these comments though.
Okay.
Let's see. Bequita, she said mother should allow a child to make his own judgment for their fathers. I agree
That's
with
true.
that. And you know what's crazy? My mom did allow me to do that. She just did it without with a lack of communication.
Okay, so you wanted more from her, and she
Yeah.
wasn't maybe giving you that much.
Exactly.
Did you ever feel like at that time she didn't feel like you would be able to receive it well, or she was trying to protect you?
I think she was trying to protect me, but
Yeah.
sometimes when you're trying to protect a kid of any age, that can enable him.
That's true.
Because had I known the whole truth,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have held so much resentment towards my pops in the first place.
That's true.
So at a certain, I understand it. Like at a younger, like 7, 8 years old. Okay, obviously I don't have the mental capacity to understand that, but I would have understood it in my 20s. You know,
Okay.
in my later teens.
Yeah.
I would have understood that. And that conversation never happened until I talked to my pops. So that's what I would have wanted from my mom.
Everything happens for a reason. You maybe just really needed that closure.
Yeah.
So, and it was able to help you move on and look at the situation differently. So,
Yeah. Roderick Bland, what's up, man? He said, right, my mom never spoke ill of my father. His actions spoke for him. Exactly.
it's gonna do it every time.
Yeah.
That's why I said my mom never said anything bad. I didn't start knowing about him and his ways until I had those conversations, and conversations ended, you know, due to something that I felt was like just really just starting to see like, okay, it wasn't me. And then at that point I was able to take that guilt off of me.
Yeah.
With actually knowing him and having conversations and being like, okay, I got it now. It makes sense now. But
Yeah, and parents, listen, if y'all feel the need to speak about the other parent in front of your children, don't let it be no lies. If you gonna talk about them, and even if it sounds ill, let's just say you're telling the truth. Make sure it's just the truth, because guess what happens when y'all sit up here and lie on each other? The kids come back confused and thinking one way, and it's really something else. And then somebody always left to clean up a mess of another parent. That's not a good feeling. And I understand everything is not going to be perfect as a mother or a father. However, what you shouldn't be doing for the majority of the time that you guys have the kids is cleaning up messes. That's what you shouldn't have to do that. Kids are not involved in none of this stuff that y'all going through. Y'all going through adult stuff. Keep that adult stuff with the adults. Let these kids be kids. Nobody should have a 10-year-old that's acting like they're 17. There's nothing cool about that. That means these kids were forced to grow up quick.
that's true. And
So-
that ain't a good feeling either.
Exactly. Donna Scott, she said, good morning. Facts. No father in my life. Breaking the generational curse. My daughters live with the father for years, and people used to say why. I would say because that's their father. It worked. Exactly.
Okay, see, let's talk about that, because
Yeah.
a lot of people feel like if the child spends 3 to 4 consecutive days with the dad, it's like, well, why he not with the mom? Or if that's their permanent place of where they live, it's like, that's their dad. Just like you expect me to take care of them as their mom, they have a dad. Why can't he, do the same, be around them, or just have the same access or standards that the mom has?
Exactly. And let's stop acting like one can do better than the other.
You need both.
Let's be real here. Y'all did whatever y'all did to make those kids, right? It took 2. Thank you. It takes 2.
Yeah.
So that means it's going to take the both of y'all to keep y'all mind right to make sure that your kids are great. That's it. Y'all did teamwork when it came down to creating them. Do the teamwork when it comes down to making them develop and grow up, so they can be better functional kids in this society, or functional adults in this society. You don't want them holding on to trauma. That will hold them back.
Yes.
That's gonna end relationships. That's gonna end friendships because they don't have no connection. Because look at all the chaos they got brought up in. Y'all gotta do better.
Yes. Gotta heal.
Oh, my man's Parker, what up, bro? He said, facts. That's crazy. We should have communication with the two parents. It should not matter what y'all went through. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It shouldn't matter what we went through. All that should matter is the importance of the kids. What they're going on, what they're going through, what they need. What they need is for y'all two to function.
That's it. Because they didn't ask to be here, essentially. So
thank you.
You don't want to make, their life hell from going through or having to, be a product of what y'all going through. It's like, it's not a good situation. Yeah. And I understand that there are mothers out there that think it's okay to try to keep fathers away from their kids. I'm going to hold that thought. Top of the top, caller, you on the air.
What's up, fam?
What up, though?
Hey.
That's Chef Wilson.
What's up, my guy? How you doing, bro?
Hey, Chef.
Hey, I'm good. Amazing show.
Thank you.
And I do agree. My mom never talked ill against my dad.
Mm-hmm.
I know my dad made his mistakes, but since she never talked ill against my dad, it allowed him to come back and apologize in his time, and he did.
Good.
You know what I'm saying? So it was I received it, right? And even I'm heading out today. My dad, he lives in Atlanta. But me and my dad talk every day now, right?
Oh,
that's dope.
For the last couple years.
I love that.
So he came in from Atlanta yesterday. He's like, look, he said, I want all the family to go to church. He said, we hadn't been to church together since you guys were kids. So, like, now, 12:45, we about to head out. We all going to church. My mom had a stroke, so she's no longer walking, but she's still going to be in her wheelchair.
Got you.
And all my brothers, sisters, we all going to church together, and then we going out to eat. So I would like, if parents are listening, and you guys did say this, if you don't have anything honest to say about the other parent, don't say anything at all, because you got to remember, maybe both you guys were at a young age and not at a mature mind. So allow that other parent to come back in their time as wisdom kick in and apologize and make things right. You know what I'm saying? And that's, my dad is 87, my mom too. And he came around in his time, and I love that. And it made me more so want to be that way with my children also. Any wrong, any rights, anything you ever said to your kids at an immature state of mind, go back once you mature and wise up and right them wrongs.
Yes, definitely. I agree with you wholeheartedly on that.
Yes, it will help tremendously.
Yeah, right them wrongs and stuff. And parents, stop. Just because the thing didn't work out with the relationship, don't damage the relationship with the children and the other parent.
Yeah.
That's further disappointment. But you guys keep going on. This is an amazing topic.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
And, enjoy your Sunday.
Definitely, man. You do the same.
Thanks for calling.
Appreciate you.
All right. No problem.
All right, bye-bye.
Yeah, that's dope. And I agree with him. Like I said, like you said, right those wrongs that you made. Like, and a lot of parents don't know how to do that. And like I was saying, when it comes down to mothers trying to keep their kids from the father, if you're gonna do such a thing, even in reverse, with the fathers trying to keep kids from the mother for whatever reason, mad because she didn't want to stay with him or whatever the case may be. If you're gonna do something like that, make sure that those kids ain't needing or wanting for nothing. Understand me? Make sure them kids is good in all aspects. Not saying that they perfect, but make sure they not struggling with nothing they should even be struggling with. If you're going to do such a thing. If you're going to fight tooth and nail to keep kids away from the other parent, and there's nothing wrong with the other parent, make sure they good all the way through. No excuses, nothing. They should be great. Straight A students and all. Like, if they end up being a little bad, cool, whatever. But for the most part, they shouldn't be struggling with nothing if you want to go through all that trouble and do such a thing. And that goes for both sides, not just the mothers. I'm talking about the fathers, too, because there's some bitter fathers out there as well. So
that's true. Fred brought up a very good point in regards to what he was saying when not letting the mother kind of come in and dictate about the father. I feel like that's a good thing not to do, because you don't want to corrupt the child's mind.
Right.
You want them to be able to look at that person with a clear mind, not knowing anything, not having any hatred or anything, so that, like Fred was saying, when the person comes back in their time, or the dad comes back, when he's ready, it won't be this clouded judgment that you're now trying to see, or these, foggy lenses that you're trying to now forgive this person with. And as a kid, you shouldn't put that on your kids anyway. Like, they should be worried about playing, school. They shouldn't have a worry in the world. They should be kids. They shouldn't have to worry about, real life adult stuff. So
exactly. And that's just how it should be, man. Like, these kids do need to be kids, because when they try to grow up too fast, they end up in stuff too fast.
That's true. Drugs
early, drinking early. Things that they shouldn't even be touching, things that they shouldn't even be near. It's something that, oh yeah, I saw my parents do it, but I don't want to do it. That, like, right. It should be like that.
Exactly.
Not, oh, you know what? Let me go ahead and experiment myself. My mom do it. My dad, no.
Yeah.
That's not cool. And start showing your kids if you don't want your kids doing what you've been doing as an adult, do it away from them. You know what I'm saying? Prime example. If you know that you guys can't get along or can't see eye to eye on something, stop arguing in front of them kids. They not gonna always see y'all on your best behavior, no. But when it come down to those real arguments, take it outside. Go sit in the car or something and handle that. Because the kids don't need to see all that chaos. They get scared. Then they go from them being scared to thinking, oh, this is normal. That's just mom and dad. That's not cool. And then they gonna grow up functioning just like we did.
Yeah.
No.
You gotta break those generational curses.
Do better.
It start with you.
Absolutely. So, absolutely.
Definitely.
Well, we definitely appreciate everybody for tapping in, man. It's been a great show. I'm glad I was able to make it up here on the off day. Yeah. So this is definitely cool.
On an off day, on a rainy day, but we made it.
Yeah, we definitely made it. You got anything you want to close out with, Telly?
I just want to thank everybody for watching. Again, just have grace. Work on emotional intelligence when it comes to, just growing up without a father. Just have grace. Just, literally, when you forgive, you forgiven for you, and just work on healing. It's gonna set you free, literally.
Yes, and to piggyback off of what you were saying about healing is not gonna happen immediately, ladies and gentlemen. It's really gonna take a lot of time, a lot of patience, and a lot of work on your end. You're gonna have to do the work. I don't care how much you pray to God. Do the work.
Yes.
Because nothing is just gonna fall in your lap. It's not gonna work like that. So if you want help, not only seek help, keep on working on getting help. Stop saying, "Oh, I don't like this person, so I'm not about to deal with it." No, keep looking. Because guess what? There's somebody out there that can speak to your soul and get you together.
That's true. And healing is a journey.
Yeah.
So
it's definitely a journey. You're going to have your moments where you feel like you're going backwards. It's okay. Just keep striving to move forward. That's the whole point. I'm not saying you're not going to fall off. I'm not even going to say fall off. It's okay to fall back. It's never okay to fall off. So just remember that as parents, even if you got kids going through it, hey, go to therapy with them. If they went through any type of trauma when it came down to you two being together and everything was chaotic, help them heal as well while y'all are healing. And that's it, man. We'll catch y'all next time. We out of here. Indeed.
Bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Talk